Good morning, students, and welcome back to my channel. Let's learn together. I hope all of you are fine and all of you are doing well during this time and making the most of online teaching and learning processes. Anyway, in today's video, I'm going to discuss with you the poem which is written by Robert Frost, which happens to be the second unit of your textbook, The Road Not Taken. Uh, Now, this particular poem is basically about the choices that one makes through his or her life. Now, as all of you can imagine and understand that your life is largely what is the choices one makes. It is largely the consequences of the choices that is made by one and not the consequences of the circumstances. Choices are very important because whatever the decisions that you take in your life are ultimately going to affect your future. Okay, so this is what this particular poem is about, and Robert Frost is dealing with the whole issue of making choices by human beings, and these choices are inevitable. I mean, everybody has to make some choice or another. Generally, the dilemma is not about whether to make a choice or no, not. Choice has to be made. But then the dilemma is about out of various choices that might be present before you, which one would you pick up and why? And how is it going to affect your future or affect your life? Okay, this is what basically the poem is about, the dilemma that one goes through, that one faces while making certain choices in life, and he is looking at it in a bit of philosophical way. So when you read the poem, you might find it a little difficult because, as I told you, the poem has some philosophical issues with it. But at the same time, if you give the poem multiple number of readings, then definitely it will be easier for you, or comparatively easier for you, to understand what the poem is. So in this particular video, going to take first two stanzas with you, not more than that. The poem consists of four stanzas. I will be discussing only first two stanzas because otherwise the video will get unusually longer, and you might just not be able to pay that kind of attention till the end. So just go through the poem, but when you read the poem, you have to read it through the complete poem. The complete poem has to be read out by you, and that too, do not just imagine that you would understand everything in just one go. That's what I said, that give it a multiple number of readings, right? So my recommendation to you is to sit with a pencil and a notebook and the book if you have it. So if you have it, like I'm sitting with the book, I have the textbook with me and I'm sitting with it. I'll be going through the textbook, I'll be going through the lines and discussing it with you and trying to interpret what Robert Frost has written for you. So you should also do the same thing. Sit with the book along with the video and a notebook and a pencil, so that as I'm talking to you, you can continue to take notes and it will be easier for you to then go back to the textbook and relate the issues that have been discussed in the video. Okay, so let me first read out the poem, complete poem. But before I actually start reading out, I just wanted to do some homework on who Robert Frost is. So Robert Frost is an American poet. Apart from that, I'm not telling you anything about him, because there are various sources available about him on internet. Find them out and try to know about who this particular person is and what has his contribution has been in English literature. So you need to talk about what kind of contribution he has made in English literature and what kind of poems he is actually writing, right? So let me first read out the poem to you in one go, and please follow carefully. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had found them really same about the same, had found them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no steps had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how ways Lord on leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. Okay, So as I can imagine that the first reading wouldn't really be very helpful, because you will not be able to comprehend all the issues in just first reading. Therefore I said read it as many number of times as possible. Now let us look at the first stanza. In the first stanza there is an imagery which is created. Now, what is an imagery? An imagery is when you read a particular lines or a set of lines or sentences in prose or poetry, there is an image that is being created in your mind. As you read it, the image would be created in your mind, and keeping the words and the sentences in alignment with that particular image, there will be an issue, there will be a particular message that would be conveyed out to you. For example, in the first stanza of the poem, the image of a particular road which is coming and then getting diverged into two roads, and thereabout there are woods, after those particular roads is being shown to you. So woods means forest. So you find that there are actually a particular there is a road from which the narrator is traveling, and when as he comes he finds the road getting diverged into two, and then the road is getting diverged. So you can imagine he is standing at a particular point from where he could go either towards the left or towards the right, and both the roads are probably going towards some kind of a forest. Okay, so it's a yellow forest. Yellow forest would mean that the trees of the forest or of the woods are turning yellow, and it could possibly the season of autumn, and that is the image that is being created in your mind. So I the first suggestion to you for me is that, by me, is that you need to understand that whenever you read a poem, try to read the poem without any help of secondary sources. There are variety of secondary sources these days which are available. There are pictures which are available. There are ppts which teachers make and give. There are guidebooks available. There are a variety of other things which are available. My first suggestion is to just read the poem in isolation and try to understand what does it actually mean, or what is it that, what are the issues which have been up which have been surfaced out in the poem. Because when you take help of a picture, or when you're taking help of a ppt, what happens is that your imagination capacity gets starts getting blocked, because then you will not think about what is it that the poem is trying to say to you. So this imagination is extremely important, because one of the more major focus of poetry as a genre is to enhance the imaginative faculties of the readers. So as a reader you need to be more imaginative. Therefore just read the book first of all. First of all, just read the book without help of any second. If you find it extremely difficult, only then try to look out for the pictures or the ppts or the variety of other materials which are available. Otherwise, just read and try to imagine in your mind what is it that is being, said in the poem. So if you look at the first two sentences in the poem, it says the two roads diverged in a yellow boat, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. So what is saying that I'm one traveler? A narrator is one, he's singular, isn't it? So he's traveling and he's finding the road now getting diverged into two. Now he has to take a choice. He has to make one decision about which way to go. And he says, I'm just one person, so can I move towards both the roads? That is not possible. So one has to pick up, which obviously means that another one would be left out. Right? So there is no other option than to leave one and to pick up one. Okay. Long I stood and looked on upon as far as I could to where it went in the undergrowth. So he said that I was stood there and I kept thinking about what is it that I should do. And he kept thinking about it, and then he realized that there was I he kept thinking about it, looking at the roads, and then he found that the one of the roads are going into undergrowth. Undergrowth means somewhere into the dense forest where the particular number of trees are just too much, and then the roads starts getting invisibilized, because then the roads is no more visible. And it says that I couldn't see the road further over there. So then now just imagine it in your own head. You don't really have to have a picture of it in front of you. So you have to imagine a person, a traveler, standing at a point where the road is now getting diverted into two roads, and then one of the road is going into a forest which is kind of yellow forest, and it's extremely dense forest. Okay, he's standing there still thinking what to do, which one road should he pick up and which one should be left out. Okay, let's move on to the second stanza. In the second stanza, he says, then took the other just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted fair, though as for it that the passing there had warned them really about the same. Now he says that, okay, fine, then I took the another one. Okay, so another one would be the one that he has left out. Okay, the one that, there are two roads, so he has left out one and he has taken the another one, and he decides to move on to that particular road. So it simply means that out of the two roads which are there in front of him, he decides to pick up one. Okay, and then he says that even the road upon which he has decided to move on, that also the choice that he has made, and then there was another road which he has left out, that the one that has been left out has also had the equal claim, which means that there were no logic, very deep logic that was involved in taking a decision. So he just moved on to one because another one was equally good. He could have very well moved on to another one also. Therefore, what he's trying to say is that he had two choices. He had to pick up one. There was no special reason of not picking up the another choice. So he picked up one and he did not pick up another one. But then the decision would have been, although he thinks about it, but still the decision was somewhat spontaneous and random. There was nothing extremely calculative and manipulative about it. Found at that particular time that both the decisions would have been all right. Even if he would have wished to take part, wished to follow first road, would have been as good as he had taken up the another road to follow. He says, in any case, even if I would have taken the another one, that would have been okay too. Hmm? So he says that now the first road which he has left was equally fair and it had the equal claim on it, but then he somehow decides to move on to the another one, right? Then took the other just as fair and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted fair, though as for the passing there had warned them really about the same. Then he says that the path that he has taken, or the road that he had taken, it looked or it seemed as if it had not been traveled by other people. It had not been used by many people because it was extremely grassy. There were grasses on it, and it looked as if not many people have passed over it. He thought that probably he has taken a road which has not been traveled by many other people. But then he comes to the conclusion that even if he would have taken the another road, that would have been already been okay. Okay, so these are first two stanzas. So my request to both of you is to all of you is to first go through both of these stanzas, make notes in your notebook, and if you find it difficult, please get back to me. And then in the next video, I'm uploading the next two stanzas for you. Okay, and you need to understand that this poem uh, is about how one plays the individual plays an instrumental role in shaping his or her own destiny. Okay, it is about that no other outside source is responsible for the kind of life that you have. It is just within your own hands about how to make your life. So read the poem once again, go through these particular two stanzas, and then I'll get back to you with another two stanzas. So till then, keep reading the poem. Any problems, please leave your problems in the comment sections below. You can ask me otherwise also. Thank you so much for sparing your time. I hope you have a great day ahead.